Susan Stevens, founder of Liberated Living, creator of the 90-day signature program, Breakdown to Breakthrough, 90 Days to Emotional Mastery, Unwavering Confidence, and Serious Self-Love. Coming at you in my office. Check this out, right? Look at this. Do you guys see this? Wow. Look at all those herbs, man. That is some sweet stuff. Yes. So today, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about a personal story about how I manifested the man of my dreams, my best friend, and how I allowed it to happen, and also how I overcame abandonment to do it, and became the soulmate to myself. More importantly, became a soulmate to myself, and how I became happy despite having a man, how I felt peace and contentment and self-worth regardless of whether I had a man or not. That really brought me an extraordinary amount of peace that I never experienced in my life. So for me, it all started, as far as back as I know I was always looking for a man to complete me. Anyone relate? Like, can you guys relate to that? I mean, really, it feels like an epidemic in our culture. So always was looking for something outside myself. And in my 20s, I dated a couple people, and I definitely have to say that I could complain about them, but I also was like, I think I was a horrible girlfriend at the time too. I was a drinker. I didn't know how to love myself. I definitely wasn't emotionally available to myself. And that's why I attracted men that were the same. I attracted men that were, we're in our 20s, so, a lot of people are like this, but jealous, controlling men. I dated men that were emotionally unavailable and that didn't have the skills to communicate as effectively. And that happened for 10 years. And then when I finally quit drinking, I didn't date for a long time, but I would serial date. I would go on so many dates, but I was known as the one date wonder, meaning I would go on one date and I'd be like, peace out, boys. And I think it was because I was so closed and so terrified of opening up, as well as I was finding out my standard was a lot higher back then. And my standard was higher. It was weird. It was high, but it was also low. I'll have to go into that later. Or I would attract like really creepy guys. And what eventually happened over the last 5 years is that every single time I liked a guy, the man would reject me or ghost me or be unresponsive. For example, like if I really liked him and I started reaching out, then I would boom, he'd fall off the planet. Or two, I'd text and he'd give me the one-word answers like, hey, sup. Or if I would say I would go into the relationship and we'd be dating, but the minute I brought up something like I wanted more in the relationship, that he'd be like, I just want something light. I would attract married men. I would attract men that would just want open relationships. It was like always just the cookie crumbs. Always just the cookie crumbs. Until I literally, and the thing was, it was so painful. It was so painful. Because not only did that happen, but I had such an investment that all my happiness was in someone else. I believed that once I had that, then I'd be happy. So when I would wake up in the morning and I didn't have that, I was miserable. Or if like I had a relationship but it wasn't going well, I'd be so distraught. It like controlled me. Or, or if someone left me, I'd be like, what's wrong with me? There'd be so much self-doubt and all of the above. And the reason this was happening was because, so what would happen when I got triggered, emotions would come up and it would bring me back. It would bring me back to experiences in my childhood. And thankfully, at the time, I had the skills, because I was a counselor, and I had the skills to shift these hard emotions, because I just don't know how people do it without these skills. And that's why I have this program, because my program helps people navigate through these dark times. But when I would go in and when I connect my feelings to the past, I was at age, it would bring me back to when I was 3, which was at age 3, I experienced abandonment. And I was left with people that friends of the family, but I was sexually abused at the time. And basically that experience, I was going to say like fucked me up, but changed my life permanently. And it created my 14-year alcohol addiction. And so because of that, and also having a father that was emotionally unavailable, that would, every time I would have emotions, he would change the subject, or he would ignore it, or would tell me to, forget about it, let's go for a run, or like just wouldn't be there for my emotions the way that I needed it. And would also, it was also more selfish. He would do things, but it was always things that he liked to do. It was never things that I liked to do. So it was like, I always felt like I wasn't worth his effort. And so that's why I attracted men that were the exact same as my dad. And it was painful, because you always attract what you know. You always attract what you know. And so after this happening hundreds of times, or like 50 times, who knows, being abandoned millions of times, every time I would bring something up, and every time I would go back in and I would heal it. I would heal it because I would be there for myself in the way that I needed it. And basically, after the last time it happened, I like put my hands up to God and I said, God, keep them coming. Keep them coming, because I'm never going to abandon myself. I'm never going to abandon myself. And that's when my life changed. That's when my life changed. And boom, it was like a month later that I attracted my forever man into my life. And the crazy thing is that I didn't give a fuck. I didn't give a fuck. Like, it was great. It was great that I attracted him. But I didn't care, because I had already found that peace within myself. So if any of you out there are going through a divorce, broken up with a partner, you feel like you love your man more than he loves you, you feel like your man isn't there for you emotionally in the way that you need, or he's critical, or he's judgmental, or he's not as generous, or he's moving away from you instead of towards you. If you feel like that's you, then stop trying to figure it out yourself. This kind of work takes support. It takes support, and it takes learning how to go into the muck and heal that little child that was disappointed, that felt resentful, that wasn't given to, that wasn't heard, that didn't matter, that wasn't enough. So book your breakthrough call. Book your breakthrough call. Don't wait another day. Because, if I would have done this work even earlier, I could have saved 5 years, 10 years, 15 years off my life. And the peace that I have now is uncanny compared to where I used to be. Unbelievable. Before, I couldn't even sit in emotion without ending up in a bar, without eating like a pound of chocolate or like a million honey griller donuts. So book a breakthrough call and let's see how to get you from A to Z. How to bring more love into your life, how to be more loving with yourself. and we'll see if we're a good fit. We'll see if I want to work with you, and what steps you need to get to go where you want to go. Big love.